Hey there, welcome to this tutorial on how to make an HTTP request in JavaScript. In this video, we'll learn how to use the built-in XMLHttpRequest object in JavaScript to make HTTP requests. We'll start with a brief introduction to HTTP and then dive into the code. Part 1. What is HTTP? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is a protocol used for communication between web servers and clients. It's the foundation of data communication for the World Wide Web. When you type a website address into your browser sends an HTTP request to the server hosting that website, which then responds with an HTTP response. Part 2. Making an HTTP request in JavaScript. To make an HTTP request in JavaScript, we need to create an XMLHttpRequest object. This object is used to communicate with servers using HTTP. Let's start with a simple GET request to retrieve some data from a server. In this code, we first create a new XMLHttpRequest object using the new XMLHttpRequest constructor. We then set up a GET request using the open method, passing in the HTTP method, GET, the URL of the server we want to communicate with, and a Boolean value indicating whether the request should be asynchronous or not. Next, we send the request using the send method. Finally, we add an event listener to handle the response using the onload property. This event listener is triggered when the server responds to our request. Inside the event listener, we can check the status property of the XMLHttpRequest object to determine if the request was successful, status code 200, or if something went wrong. Part 3. Sending data with an HTTP POST request. In addition to retrieving data with GET requests, we can also send data to a server using POST requests. Let's take a look at how to do this in JavaScript. In this code, we first create a new XMLHttpRequest object as before. We then set up a POST request using the open method, passing in the HTTP method, POST, the URL of the server we want to communicate with, and a Boolean value indicating whether the request should be asynchronous or not. We also set the content type header of the request to application JSON, indicating that we're sending JSON data. Next, we create some data to send to the server in the form of a JavaScript object. We then send the request with the data using the send method, passing in the data as a JSON string using the JSON stringify method. Finally, we add an event listener to handle the response using the onload property. This event listener is triggered when the server responds to our request. Inside the event listener, we can check the status property of the XMLHttpRequest object to determine if the request was successful, status code 201 for a successful POST request, or if something went wrong. Part 4. Conclusion. In this tutorial, we learned how to make an HTTP request in JavaScript using the built-in XMLHttpRequest object. We covered how to make both GET and POST requests, how to handle responses using event listeners, and how to send data with a POST request. HTTP requests are an important part of web development, and being able to make them using JavaScript is a valuable skill to have. With this knowledge, you'll be able to retrieve and send data to servers, allowing you to build more dynamic and interactive web applications. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials like this one and other inspiring content.